Start now. So basically, I'm going to repeat. This was a very interesting. I was when I stayed in Orlando. I stayed in this little small community, and the rabbi there said a very interesting thing that I kind of knew, but I didn't know, and I never thought of it in his perspective, and it was a very like mind-opening experience. Um, it's kind of like a mind trip, and I don't know if like it's like a funny it's like a funny it's like a very eccentric conversation, but it's a cool conversation. I'm sure a lot of you guys know this already. So basically, what he talked about was in the 1800s, there was a movement in the Jewish community which was called the Musar movement. In simplicity, Musar means like to rebuke. It has kind of like a hard connotation, but what it really means is like subconscious, like tapping into the subconscious mind to uh, to kind of to experience certain experiences. You know, Sigmund Freud has a whole you know, the whole what's it called about this thesis about this, and he was much later than this movement. This movement was like in the early 1800s. It actually created a lot of diversity. It caused a lot of diversity in the Jewish community because a lot of people were very against it. But what he talked about was the power of like the imagination. And you know, he kind of like, I'll tell you a funny story. When we were in Orlando, my parents, like for generations, there's like a interesting custom that during the Haggadah, we break the matzah, we break the middle matzah. You know, people have like 3 matzahs, and we break the middle one, and we take the bigger piece when we break it. So the children have to figure out which one is the bigger one, and we take the bigger one and we put it in this little sack, this little like pouch, and then the children have a custom to steal it. And then when it comes to later on after you eat the meal, you, so to speak, have to bargain with your children to obtain it back. And it's like a fun experience. And I think I took it to the next level where I take the pouch and I put it into my shirt. So for my kids to steal it, they literally have to, you know, fight for it. And it becomes a very interesting experience. And you know, it's like reading almost like a John Grisham book, how it ensued. You know, I broke the matzah and my kids already know that I'm going to hide it. So they immediately attacked me, and it became a whole like World War III by the Seder table. And it's like, you know, my wife asked me, she's like, why do we do this crazy thing? Our kids are becoming like violent children fighting for, you know, the matzah. So you know, it was a good question, and then I kind of thought about it, and I found written by some rabbi. He asked the question that it says in the Bible when the Jews left Egypt, they no dog barked, you know, no dog barked. So if we think about it, like what's the whole dog barking story? Like, what is it that they were supposed to bark and they didn't bark, and what's the miracle in that experience? So I'm not a dog owner, but a lot of people own dogs to alert them when there's intruders in their homes. And the Egyptians, they used dogs to actually keep the slaves working for them. They didn't want any slaves to escape Egypt. So on the borders, they had these vicious dogs that would alert, and also they would make sure that nobody escaped. And if anybody tried to escape the border, the dog would attack the slave. So it was a very big miracle that when the Jews left Egypt and they were all slaves and the dogs recognized them as slaves, that no dog barked and no dog, you know, deer, so to speak, make, you know, the Jews feel as if they're escaping and feel threatened or attacked. So this rabbi asked, how do we commemorate that miracle? You know, we commemorate the miracle, all the other miracles. So how do we commemorate the miracle of the dogs not barking? So he says that's why the children steal the matzah, the afikomen matzah, is because just like when you have a dog is supposed to alert you when someone's trying to steal something. So if your children steal your matzah and there's no dog barking, so that's a commemoration of that experience in Egypt. So basically, this rabbi in the community over there in Orlando, he was saying that if a person uses their mind to imagine the story, like if we would pause for 30 seconds and think about the experience of leaving Egypt with hundreds of vicious dogs, looking at us, and German shepherds or pit bulls or whatever they may be, and if they would see, and they would see, they wouldn't see, and we would see them not barking at us, we would feel the experience as a whole different experience than we would, just experiencing it without any type of imagination. So if he kind of, the Muslim movement took this whole concept to the next level, and the rabbi that created the Muslim movement suggested that we use this we utilize this powerful tool of imagination to also deal with any type of situation in our lives that we feel either needs improvement or change, or let's say we want to experience something differently. So he was suggesting that, for example, he talks about there's many different ways to apply this to real life, but how I apply it to real life is that, let's say, for example, I get upset about something, I don't know, whatever it is. So I try to imagine myself experiencing the same experience without getting upset about it. So when my kids, are I don't know, it makes me upset when they throw, let's say, food on the floor and they make a huge mess in my house. So if I run through my mind, imagining my children making a mess and me not getting upset about it, the next time they do it, it doesn't upset me because I've already played it in my mind and I've experienced that experience without reacting the way I didn't want to react. And it's that's one way to apply it, but there's so many other ways that I've found that, any even bad behaviors, or bad habits that I have. For example, I don't know, I used to be addicted to let's say vaping. So what I did was I kind of imagined myself not vaping, but still having the same enjoyment as vaping. I know it's a silly habit, but it's a good way to break a cycle of, in my life at least, I found it to be very powerful to, play it as a movie. How, what would the music be in the background? What would be, who would be the actors? Who would be talking to me? And it's a very interesting experience. It's a trip. You should try it with anything. I don't know. You could do it. You could apply it with anything, and you really could you could do it with happy things also. If a person wants to feel happy, so if they experience happy thoughts, sometimes we have I don't know, I'm pessimistic sometimes. I kind of see things very, they're not going to work out or whatever it is. Sometimes if I play in my head that it works out super well and I'm super happy and I'm super confident, I'm about to go into a meeting, I feel very intimidated. I'm meeting with the CEO of, I don't know, some big MLTC or something. And, I feel intimidated. I play in my head, I look up his picture online, I look at him and I say, hey, and I start pretending in my mind talking to this individual as if he's just a normal person and nothing special about him. And then when I get to the meeting, I'm super confident and I'm super I know what I want to say. I already have it ready spoken out. I know my strategy, and it kind of helps me achieve many different goals. So it's very interesting. When I went to when I was studying, this Musser connotation was very, so to speak, hard on me mentally to feel like someone's rebuking me. But then if we actually, it's not rebuke, where we take it and we utilize that power to kind of help us grow in whatever way we want to grow. It really could be a powerful force, and a really very interesting trip, in experiencing. And it kind of gets, with time, it kind of gets more interesting, and it's very interesting how, different things, how, they don't always work out the way you imagine it, but it's pretty cool to see how you you feel like you've been through that experience and it doesn't shock you or surprise you, and it kind of gives you this certain element of achievement already. You accomplished it already many times before. It's another day, another walk in the park. So, it was just a cute kind of idea. it kind of intrigued me. If anybody has anything to share about it, you know, I'm sure there's more, you know, hypnosis, a lot of hypnosis is based on, I think, also this power of imagination, you know, the power of suggestion or whatever it is. So if anybody has anything to share, you know, I'm sure there's many different experiences in this type of subject. All right. Thanks so much for joining. Yeah, and we'll be in touch. Thank you.
Definitely. Thank you again
Yeah.
for inviting me.
Thanks, Lenora.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
All the best.
Thank you.
Joel.
Thanks. Take care. Bye.
Bye.